Tonight, new signs Canada's economy is cooling.
Everyone's just being more cautious with their dollar right now.
The unexpected slowdown that could signal an end to interest rate hikes. Capitol rioters learn their fate.
I think that the ripple effects of January 6th will come to haunt us.
The severe sentences facing the Proud Boys. How COVID will affect your life this fall.
There are some signs that we might be at the beginning of a wave.
From the new variant to masks, and why doctors say wait to get your booster.
This is The National with Ian Hennemansi.
We begin tonight with an unexpected hit to the economy, but one that may actually signal good news for Canadians weathering high interest rates. New data shows Canada's GDP shrunk by 0.2% in the second quarter of 2023. This comes just a few days before the Bank of Canada's next rate hike decision, which will be watched very closely by millions of Canadians. Nisha Patel now on what's driving the slowdown and what it could mean for you.
Construction in Canada is slowing. There are fewer shovels in the ground. More projects are being put on hold.
Well, we've definitely seen a reduction in the number of homes being built, particularly in the high-rise sector.
It's one clear sign that higher borrowing costs are finally starting to bite.
It's a challenge because with interest rates going up, I mean, everyone's more cautious. From large corporations to, home buyers.
A sharp drop in new construction as well as renovations caused Canada's gross domestic product to stall last quarter. That's a measure of how fast the economy is growing. Another drag, households are spending less, buying fewer big-ticket items.
It really does come down to all of a sudden now I've got to cut back on my lifestyle just so I can afford the home that I bought 3-4 years ago.
The latest numbers came as a surprise to economists. They're also below the Bank of Canada's projections and put the country on the edge of recession. For now, most forecasts predict any downturn will be modest.
What we're trying to get at is, are we slowing the economy down enough to get inflation and to see inflation continue on that downward path?
The tool the central bank is using is higher interest rates. 10 hikes over the past 18 months that are just now starting to weigh on the economy. The most recent ones, some analysts have called unnecessary.
We could have held off in the prior two increases. Again, just because we have not yet seen the full impact of this. So we need to be a little patient.
You want to get your tape measure out?
Back at the construction site, there's hope the rate hikes are over.
There's a lot of projects here waiting to start, but really the interest rates is what's causing cause for concern. So we need those to stabilize, and then we think the floodgates will open.
Nisha, you mentioned interest rates. What sorts of things will the Bank of Canada likely be considering?
Ian, we now have a slowing economy, a cooler labor market, and inflation that has come down significantly, though it's still above the central bank's target. Most economists say this is enough to stop hiking interest rates. It won't be long before we find out whether the central bank is convinced too. Its next decision, Ian, happens on Wednesday.
Nisha Patel in our Toronto studio. The Canada Revenue Agency has fired 120 employees after an internal review found they inappropriately claimed pandemic benefits. The Canada Emergency Response Benefit, or CERB, was designed to help people who lost their jobs in early 2020. The CRA says its review turned up 600 suspicious cases, but about 30 employees were found to be eligible. Anyone who wasn't is required to pay the money back and could have their case referred to police. Yellowknife has announced residents can return to the city on Wednesday, but warned that if fires flare up, that could change. As Renee Filipponi shows us, in the Northwest Territories and British Columbia, crews are still facing danger.
Strong winds have fire crews in the north working hard to protect Hay River. It was evacuated weeks ago, but the fire is still dangerously close.
Working to push back on this fire that's just 1.5 kilometers away from downtown. And our team's doing a really good job. Boots on the ground, aircraft in the air, heavy machinery doing hard work.
Fires have also forced the closure of a section of highway leading to Yellowknife. The re-entry plan was paused, but there is positive news for evacuees. The city released a schedule that will see the general public headed home next Wednesday.
We're not going full service right away, when
when you come back. The hospital will have fewer services. We won't have like the arenas open the day after you return. Grocery stores will have a few staff, but they won't be fully staffed.
Okay, here we go.
In BC, the situation is improving as the reality of the destruction is setting in.
That's my house.
This is all that's left of Mariko Nagata's West Kelowna home. She went on an organized bus tour of her neighborhood.
I was astonished at how forceful nature was to take out. I could see like through my garage way into the other backyard. So yeah, everything was gone.
So my mission today is going to be to get rid of these.
In the Shuswap region, crews are trying to make the area safe by taking down burned trees that pose a danger, while others continue to contain the fire.
This fire isn't going to be put down until the snow flies.
And there are already lessons learned when it came to fighting this fast-moving fire. In recent days, locals who stayed in evacuation zones have been given training to work with fire crews.
I really think that we need to put this type of training on at least annually. Every spring it should happen before the fire season.
Preparing for the next fire season before this record-breaking one is even over. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Americans from South Carolina down to Florida are cleaning up damage from Hurricane Idalia.
What are you going to do? Cry? I did that already.
Yeah. Homes, restaurants, and other buildings in Idalia's path have been reduced to rubble by the Category 3 hurricane. Power is back for most of the hundreds of thousands who lost it during the storm. Efforts now underway to provide shelter, food, and water to those who were displaced. In Hong Kong and parts of southern China, residents are bracing as Typhoon Saola passes along the coast. Winds hit up to 200 kilometers an hour. Hundreds of flights canceled. Hong Kong issued its highest level of weather warning. The storm is expected to weaken Saturday. There's new reaction tonight to a CBC News exclusive story about the future of the Prime Minister's official residence. 24 Sussex Drive is in a state of disrepair. And as we first told you earlier this week, the government is scouting new locations for a new building. But as Catherine Tunney shows us, some believe the old house can and should be saved.
For years, prime ministers have called this place home. It's also been called a rodent-infested death trap and a security risk. But for this heritage proponent, it's a building still worth saving.
If you have a pest problem in your house, your first reaction is to call a pest control company. It's not to call the demolition company.
He's speaking out following news that 24 Sussex might never house a prime minister again. Sources tell CBC News the government is looking at an entirely new site to bolster security. But Mark Donay's group believes 21st Sussex can be saved for less than what it would take to build a new home. And for under the $36 million the National Capital Commission estimates renovations would cost. As for saving a piece of history, for Donay, priceless.
How many historic events have to occur in a place before it's recognized as historic? Okay. The fact is, everybody from monarchs to presidents to constitutional discussions have occurred in this living room.
An architecture firm in Ottawa wants to preserve the home too. It's published an unsolicited proposal to save the main house, mixing old with new touches. Pictures the firm hopes renew public interest.
This is not a new debate. What to do with 21st Sussex is a perpetual question, one that politicians are more than willing to kick down the road.
Of my list of priorities, this will probably be the last. We don't need a new home for the Prime Minister. We need a new home for working class Canadians.
For others, enough is enough.
I think it's embarrassing that a G7 country can't provide a safe, secure residence for the head of government.
After years of inertia, the feds say they could make a decision about 21st Sussex by the fall. A chance to finally learn the fate of this building. Maybe. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Ottawa.
The federal government is laying out draft rules for its Online News Act, putting a dollar amount on how much revenue it wants Google and Facebook to share with news outlets. The act requires major tech companies to reach deals with media organizations for using their news, but it says companies can get an exemption if they pay an amount calculated by the government. For Google, that works out to about $172 million a year. For Facebook, about $62 million. Facebook's owner, Meta, has already said this will not change its decision to block Canadian news. Google says it's reviewing the regulations. Quebec is cracking down on illegal short-term rentals in the wake of a deadly fire at a Montreal Airbnb. The major change? Making it the company's responsibility to ensure that units on their site are up to code. And as Justin Hayward shows us, if they don't, they will pay a steep price.
North of Quebec City, in picturesque Lac-Beauport, property manager Laurie-Jane Mondu-Poirier rents cottages on short-term rental platforms like Airbnb. Airbnb has bombarded me with emails, she says, making sure I send them my official permit from the Quebec government, a new requirement under a new law. It was tabled in the wake of the horrific fire in a heritage building in Old Montreal in March that killed 7 people, most of whom were staying in illegal Airbnbs. Under the law, every short-term rental host must post a unique registration number. That was already a requirement, but a CBC investigation found many hosts weren't complying. Airbnb says it's making sure that's no longer the case, but adds there could be consequences.
I think the biggest challenge we're going to face over the coming months is the loss of some tourist establishments in parts of the cities and in parts of the province that really rely on that economic activity.
Still, it's now up to Airbnb to make sure every short-term rental meets the letter of the law. If not, the company's liable for fines reaching $100,000 per posting.
The reality is they've had to be dragged kicking and screaming to the point of cooperating at all with Quebec's laws.
This researcher says going after sites like Airbnb directly gives the law teeth sharper than anywhere else in the country.
Even if we just assume extremely, extremely optimistically that there are only 1,000 Quebec listings operating without a proper permit, and let me tell you, the number's a lot higher than that, that would be $100 million in fines.
The Quebec Revenue Ministry says it will be watching for illegal rentals and imposing the fines, and researchers say that's a model other provinces may soon follow. Justin Hayward, CBC News, Montreal.
And Montreal billionaire Robert Miller is facing a new lawsuit by one of his alleged victims. The person whose name is being withheld is suing for $9.5 million, accusing him and his associates of recruiting young girls for sex work. Miller and Future Electronics, the company he founded, are also facing 2 other lawsuits related to the sexual exploitation of children, including a class action involving 29 other alleged victims. Miller has not responded to these new allegations, but denies the others. New safety concerns are prompting some universities to make changes this fall as students return to campus. As Ithil Musa explains, they're removing some information from public websites after a stabbing at an Ontario school this summer.
On campuses across the country, students are preparing for the start of a new year. So are faculty, and this fall, for many, one issue has taken priority.
It is important to take safety seriously.
In June, an instructor and 2 students were stabbed in a gender studies class at the University of Waterloo. Police say it was a hate-motivated attack related to gender expression and gender identity.
Faculty members that are teaching courses on gender, sexuality studies, race and Indigenous studies as well. Classroom safety is an important matter, and I think the students that are taking those courses are concerned as well about their safety.
The University of Toronto says based on consultations this summer and with security in mind, room information has been removed from the university's publicly available undergraduate timetable. Western University and the University of Prince Edward Island have removed that information too, while schools like Simon Fraser and UBC are reviewing the practice of publicly posting information about classes online.
We've seen the growth of hate, both in person and online, but hateful, extremist, as well as racist and bigoted discourses around some of the things that are discussed in the university.
In 1989, a gunman shot and killed 14 engineering students in Montreal, simply because they were women. For engineering student Samantha Lavallee, it's a tragedy never far from mind.
Not all genders have been accepted in certain disciplines historically, and so there's this sort of move to make sure that people understand that they do belong here and that we're trying to work towards creating a safe environment for people.
Nigmendra Narain says keeping classroom information offline is a good start, but staff and students need to be consulted on how best to make campuses safe for everyone. Idil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
2 more members of the right-wing extremist group, the Proud Boys, will spend at least a decade behind bars. Today, they were handed long sentences for their roles in the January 6th attack. But as Chris Reyes tells us, even an officer who was injured that day worries it won't change some people's minds.
This defining moment in that violent attack on January 6th will mean 10 years in jail for Dominic Pizzola, the man breaking the window with a stolen riot shield, breaching the building. And for Ethan Nordine, seen here leading a group to the Capitol on that day, 18 years. In court, Judge Timothy Kelly called what happened a national disgrace as he handed down the heavy sentences. Pizzola has been convicted of several charges, including assaulting an officer and robbery involving government property. Nordine of the more serious charge of seditious conspiracy. After he was sentenced, Pizzola raised a fist in court and said, "Trump won." In a statement released after their sentencing, the U.S. Department of Justice said the 2 men recruited and participated in every consequential breach at the Capitol, adding that Nordine and Pizzola mobilized and led a group of Proud Boys onto the Capitol grounds, leading to the dismantling of metal barricades, destruction of property, breaching of the Capitol building, and assaults on law enforcement. One of those police officers injured, Michael Fanone, who's concerned that even with such punishing consequences, many still believe the election was stolen.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have the influence on other Trump supporters and MAGA supporters and other elected members of our government who continue to peddle the lies. I think that the ripple effects of January 6th will come to haunt us for probably all of eternity.
Nordine's sentence ties for the longest in all the Capitol riots convictions so far, but next week, prosecutors are asking for 33 years for Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
The city of Washington says it's trying to keep kids safe by keeping them off the streets. Starting tonight, a curfew is in effect in the capital for some neighborhoods. As Katie Nicholson tells us, the idea has been tried before with mixed results.
This is an oasis of safety in one of Washington's most dangerous areas.
I used to get in a lot of trouble. Then when I started coming here, it's like I stayed out of trouble. I got back focused on my schoolwork.
This is TRAP, an after-school drop-in center.
TRAP stands for Teaching Rambunctious Adolescents Peaceful Positude.
Co-founder Jasmine Goodman says it's been a tough summer.
I've lost a lot of youth over this past summer due to gun violence, senseless gun violence.
Violent crime is up 39% in D.C. compared to last year. And there have been several high-profile cases involving young people. Like this fatal shooting of a Lyft driver in July. Young people also repeatedly the victims of shootings and stabbings. This new curfew aims to keep them out of harm's way, from midnight to 6 a.m. on weekends and from 11 to 6 a.m. on weekdays. People under 17 have to stay home. These types of curfews were common in the 90s, part of a Clinton-era crime bill, before slowly fading away. The jury is still out on whether they actually work.
So the research is really mixed as to whether juvenile curfews are effective. There's some research that indicates that any crime that youth who might fall under the curfew might commit move to earlier hours.
Despite that, more than a dozen cities and counties across the U.S. have recently introduced similar curfews. In this neighborhood, skepticism it will make a difference.
It don't matter what time it is when something happens, so it is what it is. It ain't stopping nothing.
Yes, look, you dropped everything.
But for Goodman, who's seen too much loss this year, this curfew has her full support.
We just want to make sure y'all safe, y'all getting home safe. so many babies and so many older kids and younger kids are dying just hitting from stray bullets. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm praying on it.
Yeah. And praying they don't lose any more kids to the violence. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
As we head into the fall, we're also heading into familiar territory. COVID numbers climbing.
There are some signs that we might be at the beginning of a wave.
From updated boosters to a new variant, what you need to know to stay safe next. Plus, what really makes hurricanes so dangerous?
This car actually hydroplaned, then flipped over.
The deadly threats that may surprise you and what we can learn from them. And later, a life-saving operation for a Saskatchewan girl.
And I was just in that moment really speechless and smiled at Bella.
Her advice for other kids waiting for transplants. We're back in 2. COVID never went away, and now
There are some signs that we might be at the beginning of a wave.
there's more virus turning up in wastewater, reported cases going up as we head into the fall.
It's respiratory virus season. It's not unexpected.
New variants have arrived, including B286. With more than 30 mutations, it's a big evolutionary leap for the virus. But a leap to where?
There's no indication that so far that it causes more severe disease.
All of it while updated fall boosters are still awaiting approval from Health Canada.
It is a difficult period, there is no doubt.
Making it a challenge to prepare for what's next. And infectious diseases specialist Dr. Zane Chagla is here to help us navigate all of this. He works in Hamilton and joins us from Mississauga, Ontario. And Dr. Chagla, first of all, what are you seeing in terms of COVID in hospital?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few more patients than we had at the end of the summer, so kind of in that June, July period. Certainly, you know, the individuals that are coming in are a little bit different. They're not as sick as before. They're mildly ill. They need a little bit of support. They're often making discharge. And I think, you know, from a sheer number standpoint, this is very, very different than 2020, 2021, 2022, where the numbers are still relatively small, more than they were a couple of months ago, but still several-fold lower than what we saw even in 2022 at the same time.
So this new variant that's been detected in British Columbia for the first time, how concerned should we be?
So this variant was described a couple of weeks ago. It was a sequence variant in Denmark, and really a lot of countries, when they started looking, were finding a small number, not a huge amount, but a small number of their sequences had the same variant. Now, these are the countries that have access to good sequencing. The fact that they're finding this variant in their countries and places that don't have good sequencing aren't finding it probably suggests it's pretty widespread, especially as we're seeing it in people that have no particular travel history. The good news is, though, you know, this has probably been around for some time because we are detecting it in people that really have not left their particular countries. And, you know, we aren't seeing explosive growth. There was a little bit of data that got released yesterday that suggested perhaps this may evade immunity a bit better, but the ability for this variant to actually infect cells may be a bit worse than currently circulating variants. So still a lot to determine, a lot to question, but the good news is it doesn't seem to be taking off as fast as we would see with other variants that have caused significant concern.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So a lot of us are trying to figure out when to get the next booster for COVID. Variants continue to happen. Viruses continue to mutate. What advice can you give us in terms of timing?
Absolutely. So, you know, for people that are, you know, at risk today, getting chemotherapy tomorrow, they should probably get updated as soon as possible. For everyone else, there will be a new vaccine available probably towards the end of September, early October, that will more match up with current strains based on XBB. Now, the recommendation is people should get this vaccine kind of 6 months after their last infection or last vaccine, whichever is sooner. And the priority should be for those over 65, those who are immunocompromised, those who live in long-term care, who have medical comorbidities, or in other groups that put them at high risk. And those are the folks that really need to be encouraged to be front of the line to update their protection as that 6 month comes.
We have 1 minute left. Dr. Chagla, let me ask you about masking. Many of us are going to spend more time indoors as the weather turns colder, particularly in schools. What advice do you have there?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It reduces the risk. I think we leave it to people's decision making if they want to add those additional layers based on their risk, based on the people they're around. But certainly, you know, if you're going to use masking based on what's happening in the community, then this may be the time to start adding it on, along with the other layers of protection, like washing hands, staying home when sick, getting your vaccines, and accessing treatment if you're a high-risk person.
Our video link is not perfect, but as always, your information is rock solid, Dr. Chagla, so thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks.
And if you have more questions about COVID, Dr. Chagla will be joining us on Cross Country Checkup on Sunday. The call-in program starts at 4 p.m. Eastern on CBC Radio and CBC News Network. Now, a tropical storm. Idalia wasn't as deadly as many had feared, but the outcome could have been far worse.
It sounds like 2 people got into an altercation over some gas and 1 person was shot.
Coming up, Andrew Chang looks at some of the unexpected dangers of hurricanes. Plus, one man's fight for compensation with an electric company.
They should obviously take accountability of their, equipment.
Why he says it's costing him thousands. The National takes you deeper into the story shaping our world. Next. Tropical storm Idalia is out over the Atlantic Ocean, allowing the focus on land to shift to cleanup. Damage is devastating, but there was a fear many lives would be lost too. So far, there are only 3 deaths linked to Idalia, but hurricanes are, by their very nature, dangerous, sometimes in ways you might not expect. Andrew Chang shows us how.
When Hurricane Idalia made landfall as a Category 3 storm, the fear was that it could cause catastrophic damage and loss of life. A Category 3 is a major hurricane, winds topping out at around 200 kilometers an hour. But the strongest hurricanes usually aren't the deadliest. In a study of 50 years of hurricanes hitting the United States, only 3 of the 10 deadliest storms were Category 3 or higher. The truth is, people die in storms for all kinds of reasons.
2 months after Hurricane Harvey hit Texas, a 31-year-old man has died after he contracted the rare flesh-eating disease.
So here's what I did. I went through academic studies, news reports, reams of data from various national governmental agencies, and I compiled a list of the most common ways people die during hurricanes. Now, I should say, this list is imperfect and imprecise for a few reasons. We can't always know a person's cause of death, for example, and how it's classified can be a little confusing. There can be multiple causes of death, like if strong winds and flooding push your car into oncoming traffic and the driver you hit has a heart attack. Like, how do you categorize that, right? But to understand the main ways hurricanes can kill, especially as a way of gauging risk for yourself, before, during, or after a hurricane, this may help.
All right, we're going to head back out to Metairie, where a shooting happened out at a gas station.
This is a good reminder that not everyone who dies from a hurricane dies directly from the hurricane.
It sounds like 2 people got into an altercation over some gas and 1 person was shot.
In this case, one driver shot another and he died. This was about 2 years ago in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida. You know, tempers flared so often at gas stations. Lines were long, it was hot outside, people needed to fill their generators, that a sheriff in New Orleans implored people not to be gas holes.
But hostilities are high around here, and for anybody to bring a gun to a gas station, it's not needed.
In another case, 2 Hurricane Ian contractors got into a fight, and again, one shot the other dead. This is considered a hurricane-related death, because if there was no hurricane, probably no one gets shot. This is a really tough one to rank because suicide rarely, if ever, has just one cause. But Florida's Medical Examiners Commission put Hurricane Ian-related deaths by suicide at about 3% of all deaths.
I literally watched my house disappear with everything in it. Right before my eyes.
It's like a bomb went off and you just keep shaking your head.
Hurricane Ian was absolutely devastating. You know, if you were lucky, only your home was destroyed. But think of people who lost pets, friends, family, partners, and what it must have been like to see your entire neighborhood, maybe where you grew up and spent your entire life, all gone. We so often talk about disaster relief in terms of physical things, but mental health absolutely suffers after a hurricane, and some people never recover.
You get that video? There you go, keep it going. Power flashes everywhere, guys.
When you have hurricane-force winds blowing through city streets, you know when power's been knocked out. But it's not always so obvious how to gauge the threat. For example, your home fills with water, you've forgotten to turn the breakers off. In a 2016 study looking at hurricanes and tropical storms in the US between 1963 and 2012, researchers counted 65 deaths from electrocution. In nearly every hurricane that made landfall, at least one person died this way. And it's not just people at home or random pedestrians navigating down lines who are at risk. The effort to bring power back online is also very dangerous work. The study goes on to point out that of people who died during power restoration work, half were utility workers.
If you have chosen to use a generator, please ensure that the generator is properly ventilated.
In that same study I just mentioned, carbon monoxide poisoning just edged out electrocution as a cause of death. And it doesn't take a hurricane for this to be a real risk. In Quebec, during a vicious ice storm a few months ago, a man died in his garage after running a generator inside during a blackout. Within a span of just a few hours, Montreal's health authorities said it had received about 60 calls for carbon monoxide poisoning.
A Houston woman and an 8-year-old girl were overcome by carbon monoxide fumes as they struggled to stay warm inside a car.
Take a look at this. One more reminder why drivers need to be careful in this wet weather. Cars were spinning out and crashing across several lanes. Oof.
4% of all deaths from Hurricane Ian last year were car crashes. But in the past half century, almost 1 in 5 indirect deaths from hurricanes were car crashes.
This car actually hydroplaned, then flipped over.
It is easy to misjudge what just a few inches of water on a road can do. That's enough to wash your car away.
When Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans, entire neighborhoods vanished under 20 feet of water.
After Hurricane Katrina, a study out of the University of Cambridge looked at 971 hurricane-related deaths, about 800 of which there was a known cause of death. They found about 25% of those deaths were people dying of severe trauma or injury. There's a lot of ways that can happen, most of which you can probably imagine. Debris being hurled around, wind catching you off guard, being swept away by water, and sometimes buildings collapse. And falls, those account for a surprising number of deaths. During Hurricane Ian, more than every other cause I've listed so far. Look at this. An article on Ian's death toll includes mention of a 71-year-old who fell off a roof while putting up rain shutters. When you look at all indirect hurricane deaths, heart attacks is right up there. But hurricanes wreak havoc on hospitals too.
So if all this shut down and you weren't able to get dialysis for days, it could be life-threatening.
Yes, it could be.
A dramatic rescue took place at a hospital. The backup generators there also failed. Tiny babies rushed out, oxygen pumped by hand.
Even those who managed to evacuate. What happens if you need medical help and it just can't reach you? During Hurricane Katrina, bridges connecting islands to the mainland were washed away. The power grid was left in shambles. And in that University of Cambridge study, they say 1 in 3 died due to illness. Heart disease, diabetes, infection, even people who succumb to cancer because they just can't get the help they need.
Where?
The danger with wind is not the wind itself. It's not that people blow away. You know, this video is famous because people can't believe how much strength and balance it takes to stay upright in a Category 5 storm. But if even one thing hits that guy at that wind speed, it could be anything, like a street sign, a fence post, even a rock, that could kill him. 8% of all hurricane-related deaths between 1963 and 2012 were attributed to wind. Flying debris is a major threat, but wind also uproots trees. According to one study, nearly a third of directly storm-related deaths from Hurricane Sandy were from fallen trees. The amount of rain that falls during a hurricane can be deadly.
This morning, the flash flooding threat expanding into Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana.
When city drains can't handle the sudden influx of water, flash floods can begin and overwhelm so quickly. People, vehicles, property, they can all be swept away with very little warning. In places with steep terrain, you can also have mudslides. Historically, heavy rainfall has been one of the biggest killers when it comes to hurricanes in the US. Drowning, the leading cause of death. So there's some overlap here, but storm surge deserves special mention unto itself.
I want to show you something that, look at that stop sign. To the left of the stop sign is a storm surge indicator. The water right now is, as you can see, around 9 feet.
Storm surge is when the winds blow so hard, sea level rises up and above parts of land that are normally dry. Entire communities being put underwater makes storm surge the deadliest part of a hurricane. It was estimated that hundreds of people died during Katrina because the water in some places was 15, 20 feet high. People tried to shelter at home, hunkered down in their attics, thinking they were safe, high enough, but they weren't. In the last decade, the National Weather Service has gone to great lengths to educate people about the threat of storm surge, historically accounting for about half of all U.S. deaths due to hurricanes.
When it comes to Idalia, warnings about where it would make landfall and that there would be a dangerous storm surge were quite accurate, and that made the dozens of evacuation orders that were already in place particularly effective, helping keep the immediate death toll relatively low. Coming up, a Toronto man is out thousands of dollars after an electrical overload damaged some of his appliances.
I think it's unfair that, that people should be burdened with that.
Coming up, why the hydro company is refusing to compensate him. A Toronto man is asking the city's electric company to pay up after his appliances were damaged in a power surge. It's not the first time it's happened, but as Angelina King explains, this time Toronto Hydro says it won't reimburse him.
The ignition doesn't ignite anymore. It's going to be $800 for that to just fix that.
Plus, there's the audio equipment, the furnace, water heater, and more, all damaged and costing Vijay Patel more than $5,700, he says.
I think it's unfair that, that people should be burdened with that. So these are the surge protectors that blew.
Patel is out the money after his appliances and electrical equipment were fried because of an overloaded cable owned by Toronto Hydro. The same thing happened in 2014. Back then, Toronto Hydro paid for the damages. So when it happened again this spring, Patel was surprised his claim with Toronto Hydro was denied.
They should obviously take accountability of their, equipment.
Turns out Toronto Hydro only repaid him last time because it incorrectly claimed the problem wasn't from its equipment. This time the utility company says there was an issue with its underground neutral cable and the problem is because of an unexpected equipment failure. Still, it won't repay Patel for the damages because they weren't caused by willful misconduct or negligence.
What is willfully? Like you had to come into someone's home and blow equipment up? So I think, it is a strange policy.
That policy comes from the provincial regulator, the Ontario Energy Board. Toronto Hydro said it can't comment on individual complaints, but said if the involved asset has been properly inspected and maintained, was within its useful life, and there was no reason for Toronto Hydro to reasonably expect the asset would fail, or if the event was caused by factors beyond the utility's control, Toronto Hydro is not liable for damage to a customer's property.
This is a problem of access to justice generally.
The Consumers Council of Canada says customers in similar positions need access to time and money to fight their case. At the very least, Ken Whitehurst suggests reporting issues to regulators.
If information is not collected about problems and concerns, it won't be addressed.
Patel has appealed his claim denial twice with Toronto Hydro, and it's now at the final review stage. If he's denied again, he's not sure if he'll keep fighting, but he does know he's stuck with Toronto Hydro.
Hey, if I had a choice to go somewhere else, I'd take my business somewhere else right away.
In both instances, Toronto Hydro fixed the cable but didn't replace it, which worries Patel that all this could happen all over again. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
This has saved our daughter's life. She can survive now.
A life-saving transplant for this young Canadian TikTok star. That's coming up in our moment.
I'm Jamie Poisson. Join me for CBC's daily news podcast, Front Burner. Every weekday, Front Burner takes you deep into the stories shaping Canada and the world. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, sweetheart, go.
That is Tina the turtle making a return to the ocean, all 200 pounds of her. Tina is a loggerhead sea turtle, an endangered species. She was found with a trap line around her neck back in July off the Florida Keys. She was taken to a nearby turtle hospital where she got her name and she got better. Tina was released back into the wild today. You might be familiar with this smiling face. 9-year-old Bella Brave from Saskatchewan has been on the moment before, and she has more than 6 million followers on TikTok. Her inspiring positivity in the face of challenging health conditions has made her a star. And now, after waiting 3 years for a life-saving transplant, she got it. Her courage is our moment.
How do you feel going into today's surgery?
A little scared and a little nervous also, but I'm ready.
She was born with 3 very rare conditions, and one of them being no immune system, and then Hirschsprung's disease that affected her entire bowel and essentially made it fail, so not work. And so she's also born with dwarfism.
Throw it in your face.
We got the call, and then she said, we have a donor for Bella. And I was just in that moment really speechless and smiled at Bella, and she looked at me and she's like, what? Good job. Good job. Thanks to organ donation, we can say goodbye to Hirschsprung's disease. She can survive now. This has saved our daughter's life. We don't have to look at a scary future for her anymore. We can look at a bright one. I can't express, it's so emotional, and I'm just really proud of her.
Have lots of fun and stay brave.
So what an emotional journey for her. And of course, the family, as you heard there, so thankful to the donor family for what they made possible for their child. And also the family has thanked, imagine all the health professionals involved in this in Saskatchewan, Calgary's Children's Hospital, and Toronto Sick Kids. That is the National for September the 1st. I hope you join me Sunday for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio and CBC News Network, and later that night, right here for the National. Have a good Saturday.